Happy Friday afternoon, everyone. This is an intermediate parent update for Friday, February 26th, just to fill you in on some things that are going on. As always, I'm Mary Keenley, the principal here at St. Teresa School. As I speak with you tonight, we are just at the end of the first of 6 weeks of Lent. How'd your first week go? I hope it went well. But if it didn't, or if it kind of slipped your mind, don't worry about it. It's perfectly fine. Just hop back in. That's the beauty of having a God with no time. He doesn't really know, and he doesn't care that we're late to the party. He just wants us on board. So start your Lent off if you hadn't done so already. If you want some good help, check out the Parish Lent website that was created for us. It's got some great resources and some great ideas on it. And while we're praying our Lent and living our Lent, how much of our world problems could be solved if we all lived Lent really well this year? That we all got to know Jesus a little bit better, that we all thought a little bit more like him, we were more beatitudinal, we cared more. How much nicer things would be. Let's pray for that in our world. Let's offer our sacrifices so that the whole world comes to know Jesus and comes to know his love and comes to know the care for one another that happens when we truly live our faith. Happy Lent, everybody. So as always, we start out with our COVID update. I can't wait till we don't have to do this anymore, but we're getting closer. The first news is good news, is that as of, I think it's tomorrow, but it might be Monday, all the teachers who would like to be vaccinated have been vaccinated. In 2 weeks, they will have had the full effect of both doses of the vaccine, and they will be raring to go. I can't thank all of you enough for all your prayers and for the interventions that you did on our behalf to make sure that our teachers got vaccinated. It was such a sigh of relief when they walked in the door after that first dose. They are so excited to be vaccinated, so excited to be able to get back to normal and not worry about these things so much. So thank you for all you did, thank you for your prayers, and boy, are they excited. The big question you've been asking about COVID is travel. The advice that I'm going to give you is the same advice always. Your best bet is to stay home right now and avoid travel, to wear your mask, to socially distance. And to dispel a rumor that is flying around the school right now, there is indeed COVID at the Wisconsin Dells. The kids are saying there is no COVID at Wisconsin Dells. You don't have to wear your mask there. That is not true, but you know that, and I know you know that. So your best bet, stay home, wear a mask, socially distance, wait this thing out. If you decide that your family needs to travel, that it's best for your family to travel, then this is what you need to do. You are going to use as your guide the City of Chicago Emergency Travel Site. The states on the travel site are divided into 2 colors, orange and yellow. If you are going to an orange state, for example, Florida, you are required to quarantine for 10 days. There's no exceptions to this except for full vaccinations, and none of the kids are vaccinated. So 10-day quarantine only. We cannot accept negative COVID tests as an exemption to the quarantine at this time. So orange states, quarantine. However, if you decide to travel to a yellow state, there is no quarantine. The expectation is that you will exercise utmost caution while you are there, staying away from public places, wearing your mask, social distancing, etc. But if you travel to a yellow state, regardless of how you get there, airplane, etc., you do not have to quarantine. And again, just a reminder, these are not St. Teresa rules. These are archdiocesan rules that are based on actually the CDC rules right now. Some refinements, obviously. But these are the guidelines right now. If you decide that you need to travel, please notify Mrs. Montry as soon as possible. Next week would be great, before you leave or before you attend your event. She's going to need the location you're going, the date you are leaving the state, and the date you are returning to the state. So if you could include that in the email to her, that would be great. Now, on the week of spring break, Mrs. Montry will email you confirming your quarantine status based on that Chicago map. The reason why we're waiting so long to inform you is that that map is changing, and it's changing in our favor. It's getting yellower. So she will notify you, but if you follow the map, you'll know exactly what she's going to say anyway. If you are traveling and have to quarantine and your child is in grades 3 to 7, you may request a Chromebook, but you may not travel with it. It has to stay in your house. If you are going to do this, you need to email Mr. Tuntlin prior to spring break so he can get the proper approvals in place and get the Chromebook all set up for you to take home for your child to use during the quarantine period. And again, please do not plan on traveling with our devices. Again, your best bet is to stay home, to remember that COVID is everywhere in the United States, including the Wisconsin Dells, and be safe just for a little while longer so that we can beat this thing. So let's stop talking about this year with all the COVID stuff and let's talk about next year. As far as we are being told, there will be some guidance regarding COVID for next year, but we are to plan on regular operations, regular class sizes, regular movement, changing classes, etc. Teachers being able to stay in their classrooms and not have to be on carts. We are to plan for a regular year. That's great news for us. Some key dates to be aware of. We're pushing back the start of school about a week this year to make the summer a little bit longer. The teachers are going to need the longer summer, and we are going to need some extra time to get the building realigned and back into shape for regular operations. Grandparents' Day, we've moved that to actually the Feast of Saint Therese, and we've moved it to a Friday. That was a suggestion made by parents to make things easier for grandparent movement. So we're going to give it a try this year because it falls right on the feast day, and to see if that works, it'll be traditional. We'll start with Mass in the church, hopefully, and then followed with the open house afterwards. Thanksgiving break is as normal, the full week off at Thanksgiving, 2 weeks at Christmas, and a week at spring break. Spring break is very early next year. It's just the way it falls in the calendar. Because we start a little bit later, we will be ending a little bit later, the last day of school being June 10th. Regarding next year as well, we are starting the preparations to place your children in their new classrooms for next year, moving up to the next grade. When we make our placements, our goal is to get the best fit for your child's learning. To help with this, we do allow you to email me and to make some comments about your child that will help us place your child in the correct homeroom. Any comments you want to make are due on April 2nd to Ms. Keenley. There's my email address right there. Please note that in your comments, I want to learn about your child, and I'll pass those notes on when we make our placement decisions. You cannot request a specific teacher. And if you request a specific teacher, please do not expect it to be honored. That's not the point of this. A lot can change between now and next year, and we want to know about your child, not about the teacher. Please tell us about your child and let us know what works best for their learning, how they get along, whether they like rowdier classrooms or quieter classrooms. Tell us about how your child learns, and we'll put that in the mix when we're making the placements. Please note, and this came up last year, it was a very good question that a parent asked. Just because your child has had a specific teacher, an older child has had a specific teacher, it does not mean that a younger child will have that teacher too. If you have children that are very similar to each other, you are free to say something like, Johnny had Miss Johnson, Susie is a lot like Johnny, so that we get this idea of what works well for your child. We also cannot guarantee placement of friends or guarantee your child's placement with another child. Therefore, if you're concerned about your child having friends and functioning in a classroom, please do not suggest one, but suggest 2 to 3 students who may be good fits with your child. I am also going to ask that you ask their parents to make the same suggestions, just so that everybody's on board as we're making these considerations. And again, making the request does not mean specifically that your child is going to be placed this way. It just helps us make good decisions as we make our placements. Your child will receive his or her placement on Friday, May the 28th. Traditional way, it goes home right at the end of the day. And our moving up day is planned on being Wednesday, June 2nd. The current plans are that we will do this in person. Your child will actually go to the next classroom, meet the next teacher. That's the plan as far as we know it right now. The school year is moving along, so coming up in the next few weeks, Trimester 2 ends on Tuesday and report cards will go home on Friday. It's very exciting because it means we're in the third trimester of the year and we've made it through two full trimesters. On Friday, March the 12th, we will have our Change for Change, and as is our custom, this will be for our Lenten Focus, which is the St. Joseph home, right across the street from us. It's going to be a fun day. Watch from Parents Association with some fun ideas to celebrate the Change for Change that day. Spring break will start on Friday, March the 19th, which is also the Feast of St. Joseph. Break will start at 1:30. We will be shutting the school down at about 1:31. Getting all the teachers out of here, getting the kids out. Everybody go home and start their spring break. Friday, March 19th at 1:30. Remember, no afternoon step that day. When we come back to Holy Week. Sunday, March 28th is Palm Sunday. This will be followed by April 1st, Holy Thursday, and we'll pray together, and then we are off for Good Friday on April the 2nd. And as we conclude today, just an opportunity to say thank you for all the things that you have done to make this year work for us. Starting out with you in the Parents Association, for all the efforts, despite all the restrictions that we have put in place, you have still found a way to make things great for the teachers and to plan some events for the kids. You've dealt with a lot of changes with pickups and drop-offs. You even are participating in the 3C survey. We made our quota on the first day of the survey. Now that doesn't mean you shouldn't fill it out. Please do, because the more data we have, the better the survey is. But just a sign that you guys are really on top of things, and I appreciate your involvement. I also appreciate the cooperation with the COVID guidelines, calling in when you need to call in, keeping your kids home. I know it's been a real pain, and we appreciate all you've done. And thank you as well for all the communication that's gone through that you have really attended to and tried to follow along. There's a lot flying out, and because we're not in person, most of it's written or in this format, and I appreciate your attention to these things. So as we finish up, just a reminder that we are not only in Lent, but we are in the Lent of the year of St. Joseph, the loving Father of Jesus here on earth, who took such good care of him, even though he had his own Lent and own sufferings in order to raise his child. How close you are to St. Joseph and how much you are living the same life that he lived, working for a living, taking care of your families, providing a home, and making sure that all goes well in the raising of this beautiful child that God has given to you. Pray to St. Joseph as his feast day grows close on March the 19th, that he take good care of your family and that he introduce you to his son so that you can love him just the way he does. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you're looking forward to spring break as much as the teachers are. Enjoy the beautiful weather that we seem to be having as we start March here at St. Teresa School.